on to the State of the Nation. Now, last week, there was an interesting episode aired on the program Gen XYZ, which is on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. right here on Other Derana 24. Now, the topic was Gen Z and their issues pertaining to the society and life. Now, if you watch the whole program, you would see complaining, and a little bit more complaining. Now, this got me wondering as to why this is. Gen Z has indeed become a generation of complainers. That's exactly what everybody starts to think. And in some parts of the world, many companies are opting out of recruiting Gen Zers because of this attitude. Now, in the United States, 1 in 6 companies are hesitant to hire Gen Z freshers because of a combine of preserved shortcomings in motivation, professionalism, and work ethic. Many companies are concerned over attitudes of entitlement, difficulty in handling feedback, and a lack of preparedness for the demands of a workforce, which has led to many employers being hesitant to embrace this generation. But it's a little bit different here in Sri Lanka. Now, despite the fact that in that card, what you saw stating that opportunities are not given to them, I kid you not, that in my department, the English programming department, which has around 15 people, are all Gen Zers. I think the oldest one is just 26 years old. The producer on the show, the one who's basically giving me instructions to my ear, is just 20 years old. And the second producer, 21. The research guy is 21. Even you saw today a new face who was at the data board, Mihin. He too is just 21 years old. Not only this department, the whole of the Derana Media Network has many Gen Zers working, and none of them have this attitude we see in the majority of them playing the blame and complaining game. I want to get a shot of my camera team as well, because basically if we can we cut to 5 and see these guys are also part of the Gen Z group, and none of them have ever been into buying into this whole complaining and blaming game, but working hard and getting results. So the question is, who's responsible for this? Are the parenting skills right now are too soft? Are we as a society providing too much to our children out of affection, but in the long run affecting their ability to face real life problems? I really want to understand as to where this culture of complaining comes from. Let's get some expert opinion on that, and for that, joining me now is the Senior Counselor and Psychologist Dr. Ashoke Priyadarshana. Thank you very much, Doctor, for your time. Appreciate it. Now, like you saw, the young generation, mostly in the category of Gen Z, continues to engage in this blame and complaining game. Not everyone, most are there, like you just saw, are basically going against the tide. What most of them say is it's the fault of this guy, this thing, that thing, this generation, that generation. Now, it's never theirs. In your opinion, where do these things start to go wrong? Is it less involvement of the parents? Is it a lack of education on social skills in schools? Or is it social media? Where do you think of this culture of non-self-accountability comes from?
Thanks a lot, Mahieash, for contacting me and for inviting me for this, the discussion. And here, of course, first of all, I have to say that we should not draw conclusions like, this group, behaves in this particular manner, and, this group has, these characteristics and so on. But as a practitioner, as a psychologist who's been working with Gen Z especially, I have certain concerns on my side, especially. Now, when it comes to human development, obviously, we are concerned about 3 aspects. One is head, hand, and also heart. Now, of course, what do you mean by head? What does the head refer to? Head refers to knowledge, and hand refers to skills, and heart refers to attitudes. Especially as a practitioner who's been working with this particular group, Of course, when it comes to their knowledge, level of understanding, and level of intelligence, of course, we are very much satisfied. And even when it comes to their skills, of course, yes, we see in a lot of skillful youngsters, right? But the issue is, there are certain issues, there are certain problems in relation to their attitudes, as I have come across. Now, many of us tend to talk about IQ, and even parents do drive their children towards IQ and how to enrich IQ and etc. But the problem is we have missed something really important. That is EQ. EQ refers to emotional intelligence. Now, we know that, Gen Z, since you have mentioned, Mahesh, about Gen Z, of course, they are really informative. We know that, Gen Z is digital natives. They are really informative, and they are still they strongly depend upon information and etc. So which means they are knowledgeable, they are informative, and they are skillful. Yes.
Absolutely. Doctor, how can we fix this? How can we make our younger generation more stronger to weather more tougher things in life and to actually look at life in a positive sense rather than this negative way?
Yes. Now, of course, with the mediation of technology, and also with digitalization, I guess, like, we tend to be individualistic. I mean, youngsters tend to be individualistic. Like, we see this, disconnection between parents and children. That is something that we have to focus on. Like, when you become individualistic, and there is this, the probability and also the possibility for someone to be, depressed. And since I mentioned about emotional intelligence, one of the key aspects of emotional intelligence is this emotional control, self-control. And we have seen often how in this particular age, I mean, students or the children in this particular age have committed suicide, which means there is a problem in relation to their emotional regulation, or how to control their emotions. And that is indeed a problem. I guess, as I have figured out, they seem to be moving away from this, the connection with their culture. We know that, Sri Lanka is a collectivist culture where everybody get together, even parents and children, they get together and they move forward. Even when they are making decisions, they move forward. But we know that, when it comes to this generation, obviously, they tend to be individualistic, which means they tend to focus on themselves, and they have certain, limited relationships with certain other people like parents. I guess, this mediation has to be there. Otherwise, it is going to be, problematic. So emotional intelligence, once again, I highlight on that aspect. It is something that should be nurtured and shared by the mediation of parents. And that is where we have to be concerned about. As a practitioner, I have come across, such instances where they move gradually away from their family, and also, yes.
All right, let's leave it at that. That was Dr. Ashoke Priyadarshana. Really appreciate you coming on the show to share those views on this matter. Thank you.